All right, y'all, what's up? Good morning. It is Friday, July 24th, 2026, and we have yet another defense into support. More earnings came out last night, caused the NASDAQ to have a very large bottom wick pump just after the market close, of course, with the earnings. And we show this major line in the sand here in the 28,335 mark. We have a couple of bottom wicks in this area. We have the one from July 17th, which was last week. We have the one from today, yesterday, which bottom wick nearly at the same level. The only thing left here is going to be the liquidity from the beginning of June. Major support on NASDAQ. As you see, first off, there's a bit of a different chart setup from the S&P and NASDAQ. Yes, the S&P is hovering still up in the upper half of their range, a little bit off the all-time high mark. NASDAQ is about to put in a range low test. So we do have a discrepancy between the two, and they look differently in terms of bullishness or bearishness. NASDAQ looks like it's about to enter a markdown after distribution. The S&P looks like they are going to start their distribution phase into the last half of the range. Their first test is going to be into the 73.65 mark. After that, they're going to come on down into 72.28. So should be interesting. Different setups. And we'll see. Oil went on a rocket ship. They do have a red session finally looking to open today. And the ES is still coming off here. Market's about to open. Looking like we're going to get a test of 28,292, 300 or so very quickly. Now, what I'm looking for here is that if this were a 5-minute chart setup, it looks like absorption for a move lower. So this would look like a breach from 28,360 and then moving on down. I do have the Fibonacci pulled. Just out of curiosity, I was going to see what the Fibonacci level pulled, and it's hanging right on at 26,000 or 27,000 would be the 50% midpoint right here. Top of the morning, TTY. How you doing? Yako? Yep, we can hear you. We can hear you. Options right now are pretty flat. Yesterday, the past 2 days, the hero indicator has been nearly perfect on pinging these moves before they happen. Fantastic to correlate with the VPA price setup. Today at the open, it's a little bit, I would definitely categorize it as bearish, but 100% more neutral, more biased towards neutral than it is the past couple of days. So what's up, Damien? Majestic, good morning. Mojo, Dave, good morning. As we're coming into the weekend, baby. Next week is going to be phenomenally volatile. A lot of going on. What's up, Pine Beach Dan? How you doing? Good morning. Market is now open. As 30 seconds ago. The first test, if we continue down, is going to be the 480, 470 block right here. We have very light bookmap liquidity from 74.70 to 74.10. Nothing really on the book whatsoever for the morning. We had a large lot at 74.70, but that's been removed. We had a lot sitting at 28,650 on NASDAQ, and that's been removed. And nothing else remaining. We do have some data this morning, so be on guard. If I see any anomaly show up on the options or the bookmap, we'll call it out and then correlate with price action. Until then, volume. No video. Yep, we have video. And then some people are saying we have no volume, no video, but we have both, so I'm not sure. I think it might be your settings. 15-minute chart still has engulfing red candles on down after the rejection of 28,700. Had an extraordinary session yesterday. We're looking to compound on the success, baby. Fantastic 3C bottom week, exactly where we thought it was going to be, into the weekly low areas, right at 11:30, 12:30. It's extraordinary. Hopefully we can get another one of those today. Those weekly macro levels pay themselves big times. They're worth their weight in gold if you're privy enough to pay attention to them. We do have new home sales at the top of the hour. 3-star event. We have S&P Global Services at 9:45, which is in 15 minutes or 12 minutes now. And we'll be watching. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. We should get some good shakeout here in the 15-minute and the 30-minute. And I'd like to exploit those. Another bottom wick higher on NASDAQ. If you look at the overnight session, we've had a very moving session. Fantastic. The overnight price action continues to be fantastic the past few days, even the past week. Extraordinary overnight price action. You have to be a part of it early, though, because as you get later, closer to the open, it gets tight. It gets very choppy from about the 5 o'clock to, the market open time frame. But the overnight sessions and the London Open, 12 o'clock, midnight, extraordinary price action. But we had this big gap up right before the open, right before the settlement close. It was after the market regular hours closed, but it was before the settlement close. It blasted because of earnings up into 28,783, and then it rolled all the way over, bounced back up, and now we rolled all the way over again. So we're just kind of, once again, a micro range inside of a macro range. And this shaded green block is your huckleberry right here. It is your huckleberry. Patience this morning, 100%. Patience. Massive call buying on the zeros. Well, I should say massive. About 300 million worth of call buying on the zeros, and about 200 million in puts sold. Still going up. Looking across the watch list of the rest of the market, we have a mixed bag. The S&P is mostly green. NASDAQ is about 50-50, red-green. Mostly red. If I had to categorize it, I would say mostly red, and the XLK is back and forth red-green themselves, with a green ES and a mixed NASDAQ. Joining you again, what is a huckleberry? That is a reference to a movie. Tombstone, way back in the day. It was, what was his name? It was the character that was going to draw, and he's like, I'll be your huckleberry. Do I have music in the background? I do. Very light music. Doc Holliday, that's right. Yeah. Val Kilmer. I couldn't remember. I had a brain fart. All right, NASDAQ bounced all the way back up 100 points to the high pivot. Call buying, put selling on the zeros here. There's just a few of us in here with you on the movie references, but we see you. Thanks, Forsna. Appreciate you. 100-point pop from NASDAQ at 28,500. Another bottom wick. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bottom wicks. This little range here is extraordinary support for NASDAQ. Very, very difficult. At any point we finally breach it, then you know how aggressive the sellers are, and it's going to be down we go. Now, the question you have to ask yourself, today being Friday, is that what goes on this weekend? What do you expect as a possible swing trader going into the 2-day weekend here, not just regular weekend? What do you expect for Trump to tweet, Iran to do, the straight news, anything going on? Not to mention next week we're going to start to have to price in the earnings. We have mega cap earnings next week. We have FOMC. We have PCE data. So a lot going on next week. What's the market going to price in this weekend to set up for that? Most likely a rate pause next week. Ooh, big sweeping top wick, and with volume too at 28,662. Aggressive top wick right there. Coming on down. No liquidity on the book. We have a little bit down to 28.4, but it's peanuts. Not much. It's not much. Microsoft huge volume. Yeah, buddy. 28,528. Spicy open. Let's go to the 5. Right now we have engulfing red, engulfing green, engulfing red, back and forth. 28,530. If the bears can close this little pivot here at 500, we're going to start quickly attacking lower 400s. Quickly. I'm scared he's going to try to ground invasion Iran. It's possible. I mean, who knows what's going to happen these days with the news, with that Iran news. But we'll see. We'll see. All right, top wick, 520, NASDAQ. $400 on the call buying. They're doing nothing but buying calls and selling puts here. Not very much. It's very, very weak. The options data this morning is very weak. Liquidity on the book is down to 28,400. ES they're starting to ping. I want to show you all this on the book. This is muy interesante. Let me show you this. Let me show you this real quick. 1 second. Boom. So we've got 74.33, 7,400 keeps pinging, which is now, what, 20 points and 40 points down respectively. And they're spoofing that on and off, on and off, on and off. So keep an eye on those levels as we start to put on these top wicks. If they do start to trigger a sell, we're going to gun for 70.33 and see if they're going to put that back on as well. But they're spoofing liquidity down there. It could be some tackling fuel to go lower. Tackling fuel. Another top wick right here. We're going to see what's going to happen. And a chicken is outside my window. $28,520. Can you trade the news today with TPT Pro account? Yes, you can. So none of the news today is a red letter event, so you can trade with TPT. The only ones you cannot trade is FOMC posting, CPI, non-farm payroll. What's the name of the chicken? I don't have a name for this one. But I think he's about to jump against the glass because chickens aren't that smart. Go away. 28,520. Making a move. You just weave them in left and right, but we see you. Yeah, it's really, absolutely. Devious Phil, I love it. Here we go. If we take out the 499, we'll have our 3C, and we're going to start playing down to 410 when we have a lot of pivots here as well. I mean, look, I'm going to use my little drawing tool. We have pivot, we have pivot, we have pivot, and we have pivot right here. So these green lines are all pivots. I have an indicator. We just copy and paste the Forex factor information and put in the trade lines. Nice. That's pretty good, Botfather. That'd be interesting to have. Good morning, Ramas. How you doing? Bazas, how you doing? Good morning, good morning. Another move down, 500. Breaching lower. We have another couple of points here. We have a whole bunch of supportive structure in this market. A whole bunch of supportive structure in this market. 485, 433, 482. If it starts to breach this, we come into the Mac Daddy of supports of 380. If you go and look at the S&P, we have a couple of pivots here too. We've got right here at 74.34, 74.18, 74.12, all from the past 24 to 48 hours. INTC's down almost 3%. Yeah, they had earnings. So they're showing a pretty heavy move down. Pretty much, it seems, all of so far the major names that matter on earnings this week have been down. Now, the question I ask, what happens next week? We have all mega cap earnings next week along with FOMC. What happens next week if all those post red too? Is that the kind of pin in the balloon here to start to move down for the seasonality? Because typically we get some sort of bearish reaction into August, September, October, the seasonality. And we'll see if that actually continues to play out. Yeah. So it's crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. I'm killing it, Forsna. I'm killing it. Nice, Celsius. Well done. Very cool stuff. You see them first reaction into this 485. And once we come through 485, we're going to 466. No volume spikes, no bottom wicks. We have data in 4 minutes. Options are back and forth. Call buying, call selling, put buying, put selling. Liquidity on the book map has not come back on the books yet. And we're looking for 466. We're looking for 466 on down. Boom. More red. Dropping back over, baby. Dropping back over. They're coming on down. We have 3Cs. We have our first confirmed 3C of the day, which is a short trigger into these supports. A lot of supports here. A lot of supports here. Call selling, put buying, dropping back over. 28,460, looking for 440, 430. Let's go take a look at the S&P as well. I know a lot of traders are trading the S&P here. 74.66, still range bound. And now the S&P has required a little bit more patience the past week or two than NASDAQ because it loves to be a little bit tight. It's had a couple of great moves, but typically requires a little bit more patience, but it's also a little less stress too. So there's a trade-off there. S&P looks like it wants 42, which is only a couple of points down. NASDAQ is still dropping. Let me go take a look at gold as well. If at any point you see a high volume bottom wick, you know what to do. Gold is putting on a high volume move here. They're 50% of their range. Silver's coming off. VIX is bouncing back up. Somebody made a post that prop firms are going to have to start to offering single stock futures, which sounds a little ridiculous, which is basically exactly what it sounds like. A futures product for a single stock. So basically you are speculating on the future price of an individual name. That's what a futures product is anyway. They're going to juice everything they can out of the retail trader. Full port NVIDIA. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Do you consider the first C at 9:35 Eastern Time? I consider the opening, it's hard to do any kind of volume. It's almost impossible to do volume analysis on the first C, the first candle of the day, because it's always the high volume. So the first real 3C would have been the 9:35 Eastern Time candle, top wick, lower low, and then breach lower. Of course, in the first 15 minutes, it's difficult to trade that anyway because there's a lot of crazy moves, a lot of momentum as they do the shakeout. But overall, we do have a 3C trigger for the short side here, and we got 466 moving on down until we have a high volume bottom wick that closes. Then that short trigger is going to maintain, especially we have data here in 1 minute. Be careful. Actually, we have data in 10 seconds. So it's the typical 9:45 S&P news. So we'll see what happens here in a couple of seconds. A little bit of green reaction so far. Call selling, put buying here. Call selling, put buying. How'd y'all make out yesterday? You do good? Anybody put on any banging trades yesterday? It's fantastic. Had a fantastic day yesterday. Signal of the day was the 3C bounce off of the weekly low levels. It's extraordinary. I know Mojo had his best day ever. It's fantastic, man. Well done. So it was a massive wins. Y'all are killing it with the DMs, man. I love keep them coming. I've gotten a lot of good DMs the past couple of weeks. I love it. Small win AM. Nice. Well done. Good stuff. 33%. Nice Pine Beach Dan. I love it. I love it. Still going. 28,466. Once we breach this, dropping down to 433. 433. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. There it is, 460. Now we're looking for 433. There's no long triggers here. We only have an active short trigger from the first 3C of the day at 9:35, and now we're still coming down to 433. We have a whole bunch going on here. Coming down to yesterday's lows. Typically, you're looking for a strong bounce, at least a reactionary bounce, if not a full bounce. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, but the volume will be the first indication for a good wick or scalpable wick off 433. We have one more data posting left that we care about, which is in 14 minutes. Be aware of that. Be aware. Have you done dispatch for Claude on your phone? I have not. I'm getting that set up. I'm kind of cautious to put that on my phone because I'm already addicted to it on my computer and I don't want it around with me everywhere. I do make a list of ideas though. All right, 28,450. We have a little volume uptick there. Overall, the volume is kind of shifting lower into the 9:46 time frame. No bottom wicks are holding. We don't have any higher highs. If you switch to the 5 minute, 28,495 will be our trigger to look for a bounce. Call buying, put selling is back on the uptrend here. We already have one day to shake out. We have one more coming up in 13 minutes. We have no liquidity on the books. Bookmap is showing no outlier liquidity. Everything is small peanuts for now. Small peanuts. NASDAQ has 28,800. Very small lot, though. There's only 70 lots sitting up there at 28,800. 340 points higher. Let's keep it on my PC. There you go. That's probably smart. Claude is so efficient and so effective, it actually could be a distraction in your personal life. It's a lot. 28,455, rolling back over. Call buying, put selling here. We have 400 million of calls purchased, 100 million of puts sold. It's not that much though. I want to see notionals of over $1 billion to make that actionable. And I need a volume bottom wick. With Claude, you can control it on your computer from... Yeah, I saw that. You have to set up the remote, which may be useful. I don't want to be distracted. 28,460. Man, there's nothing on the book. Still coming off. Let's take a look at the individual names. SpaceX getting wrecked. Now almost to our $100 point. If you're new here to the server, we are waiting for SpaceX to come under 100, and we're going to start dollar cost averaging. If we get under 70, I'm going to the bank, baby, and I'm getting out as much money as I can. If we go under 40, I'm selling the kids. Google, MU, rocketing. I'm sorry, Amazon and Google. I just saw two names. What was the other name? Google's rocketing. SanDisk is getting wrecked. MU is getting wrecked. So there's only one name. But Google's very green this morning. Still holding. S&P divergence. Yeah, we do have a little bit of S&P. I think it's because of what we just saw. Is MU is just getting wrecked. There's actually a couple of names that are dropping steadily, and it's causing some weight. And this has been the name of the past 2 weeks. The description of the past 2 weeks has been discrepancy between the NASDAQ and the S&P. Man, strong call buying. Look at that. Call buying started upticking there a couple of minutes ago. We're at 800 million in calls and 200 million in puts sold. Can we get a higher high 3C to go long? Can we get a higher high 3C to go long? What do y'all think about the CME single stock futures? I think it's a terrible idea, but who knows? They are rolling out the products the past couple of years to give the retail the opportunity to give them your money. Single stock futures. It's crazy. All right, I'm looking for volume here. We have two 5-minute bottom wicks, which is a cumulative style price action, but we do not have a higher high. They're defending right here at 28.5, so there's no long trigger yet. There's no long triggers here. Not yet. See, large red candles. Don't get tricked into longing yet. Not yet until we have a 3C trigger. Large red engulfing candle, quick large red engulfing candle with some of the highest volume. It's about to trickle into the highest volume candle of the day. We just put in a new low. They took out yesterday's lows, and we are now in the meat and potatoes ballpark right here. 28,410. We need a higher high. I did not to low in. Look in the channel. If you want to see the day trades, go look in the day trades channel. You can see the trades I posted there. 28,412. Still coming down. 28,404. ES. Nice sweeping top wick. 74.43. Coming down. Trying to get a follow-up trade, baby. Follow-up trade. No liquidity on the book. It's shocking how light the books are this morning. That's okay. That's okay. News in 9 minutes. Existing home sales here in 9 minutes. We're going to see what the housing market is going to ping here and what the market's going to react to. So far, this is now 2 steady red opens in the morning time. Steady red opens followed by massive bottom wicks. Will they do the same thing again today? Steady downtrends here. Steady downtrends. No sign of buying whatsoever. No sign of buying whatsoever. Coming down. 28,364, 365. Still dropping. 3C trigger is still valid. We do not have a higher high. Everything is rolling big time. Into the main line of defense of the 340s. RTY is 29.47. Everything is rolling. Small caps are rolling. Tech is rolling. ES is rolling. Oil's back up. Coming into 368. NASDAQ is down 250 points from the close after being up big time right before the settlement close. 5-minute chart engulfing red. 275 is the baseline liquidity right here. Still dropping. Still active. 3C short trigger. We do not have any buying 3Cs whatsoever. If you look on the 5-minute, it's all 3C short triggers after this one. Down, down, down. We have volume coming down on this candle. High volume. All the way down. All the way down. 350, 340. Coming up on monthly lows on Q. Yeah. This is a very spicy level. That's why this shaded green block is here, to give me some situational awareness on exactly what's occurring in this level. This is a phenomenal level. If you go out to the weekly, you see exactly what we're dealing with here. The June 8th weekly candle and the June monthly candle is all major liquidity. This is juicy, juicy liquidity. And this is also the last line of defense before we go into markdown. We'll be in a technical and a Coling markdown phase below this level. Phase E of the Wyckoff down into 26,700. Or 27,000. I was combining letters there. It's going to be wild, man. It's going to be wild. And next week we could kick it off. 27,000. 28,275 is next liquidity. We are straight down on NASDAQ. Straight down. Can't go buying the dip yet until you have any signs. Keep safe. Until you have a high volume 3C indication. Right here. No buy the dip yet. There's no long triggers. It's only short trigger. We have one short trigger from 10:35 Eastern. All the way down. Remember what I said this morning is that the daily charts look like an absorption for lower. If it were a 5-minute chart, you'd be shorting it. All the way down. All the way down. 28,315 still coming down. There's no long side anything. It's all short side triggers here until you get a high volume bottom wick that closes over the highs. Watch this one closely. 900, 800. 800 million puts sold, 212 million in calls off. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm getting ready to go long after closing out short. I think this is where it's going to come here in the next couple of points. Be ready. Hold. I need a Braveheart reference now. Hold. Another volume come in. Be patient. I'm back to flat. I'm looking for a long position in this area. I'm looking for a long position right here in this area. Be patient. Hold. Some spears are longer than others. I'm going to look for 20 points on ES and NASDAQ to come back up to 410 or so. Right here. Be patient. Wait for it. When we get the V, could you explain the trigger for entry? 100%. I don't know if we're going to get a V today. You know, any long positions I'm playing right now, I'm simply going to speculate on the entry, and I'll shift my stop up as I see when structure breaks. But I don't know if we're going to get a V or not. The macro charts do not suggest a V recovery, although the markets have been Ving everything. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the markets are not suggesting a V recovery. The macro environment looks down from here. However, I do think they're going to put on at least a small bounce, and I'm going to look to play it when I get the trigger, and I'll just move my stop up as I see fit and try to get something rolling here. 74, what is this? Hold on a second. 74.30. Let's go take a look at the S&P. 74.35. Nice day, baby. Nice day. Nice day. Welcome on the YouTube stream. I have my Quan Tower open now. See if I can catch something here too. You just got to be patient here. You got to be patient. There's a certain setup I'm liking to see here. 50. 50. 50. Pine Beach Pete. What's up, Laura? Rob, how you doing? Jimba? Panic, how's everybody doing? So much blood. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, this morning showed the signs, man. NASDAQ is deeply red. The S&P is not. The Rasky Green did play out this morning. The Rasky Green only applies to at or through the open. Because remember, the last hour of the day sets up for the morning open. Now, again, it's it's semantics at that point. I get it. But it didn't follow through very well. I'll give you that. But we did get a nice, 100-point pop there at the open. At the open. $7,400. My goal here is to catch a long scalp, and then my guess is they are going to continue with the bear move after the bounce. But that's just my thoughts. We'll see what happens. 10 a.m. reversal time. Yep, plus we have news. In 26 seconds, we have news. Actually, 15 seconds. 3-star event coming up top of the hour. Right here. 5 seconds. Hands on the trigger. Position side is set. Liquidity at 300. Right at pre-market low. Yeah. Yep. Still no higher highs on anything. On NASDAQ at least. S&P is another bottom wick. Right there. Maybe think of the riffraff. Those are back in the 90s, man. You remember the George Bush things they did with those things? Right here. Coming up. Bottom wick. It's a good morning so far, definitely a good morning so far. Still going right there. Do we get the 10 a.m. reversal? That is the question. Entry on the 5, correct. So a 1-minute volume analysis, and then you confirm on the other time frames, the 5 and 15s. Right here. Call buying. This is your indication. MU and Sandex are still coming down, but the NASDAQ needs to clear a higher high. That's the difficult part. What time is it? 10:01. Right here. I need to get this up a little bit. It's hard to see. Google's flying, Amazon, Tesla, Apple, all putting on a bounce. And NVIDIA's going, SpaceX is going. So we do have a small bounce across everything. NASDAQ is coming back up 390. Looking for 410, 420 right here. Beautiful stuff. All of the tech is starting to put on a small bounce. NASDAQ is not catching up yet. We do have a small little bounce here, about 70 points. But it's still trying to absorb the 3C upper higher high, which is right about this area. Calls are starting to pump again, but they've been back and forth all day. Right here. The risk here is that it doesn't give any bounce and it continues to roll like it did yesterday morning. Another top wick. $170 bounce on NASDAQ after a very heavy roll. Man, MU and SanDisk are getting right. Man, Routine was on the money with that one, dude. These things run the market. Another bottom wick on NASDAQ again. ES has already claimed 50% of their range. NASDAQ has not even come close yet. Still going. $28,340. ES is top wicking back over. They rejected their 50 here perfectly. NASDAQ cannot hold a higher high for nothing. Quick scalpable bounce, and that's it. R2I still coming straight down. No supportive volume there. GC is here. NASDAQ is here. Not a lot of confidence in a bounce here after the initial scalp. All the way up into 440. I'm expecting more downside if this can't hold. 100%. So again, in the daily chart, the macro chart is showing continuation to the downside. It's all considered downside here, especially if this breaks. I mean, that's all she wrote. That's it. And you see how weak the buyers have been. You got to be very patient to buy the dips the past couple of days. Gold's putting on a perfect bottom wick. Beautiful. Yeah, they did at 945 with volume too. That's the 3C right there, baby. NASDAQ is coming up right here. SanDisk, MU, all with volume. NASDAQ is here. Do I attempt a long position here? That is the question. Five minute, 15, 30, 240. Not much different between all those two 380 right there. If you have to think about it, then I'd say no. Well, it says you don't have enough information yet for a good quality entry. Especially if I have to feed the sharks. Got to get these counts going, baby. I'm still trying to get my goal. My goal one of these days is to accumulate the profits that I had on Top Step on my TPT accounts, so I can actually pull the money out and not be fake simulated money. I need to pull out a good, cool milli on Take Profit Trader. That's the goal. One of these days, I'm going to do it. One of these days. Pow, right in the kisser. What's the max you can withdraw and minimum? There's no max or minimum. So, there's been people who pulled out like 1.4. I'm telling you, man, their DPT is the best. There's no restrictions. It's like the Wild West of prop firms. It's fantastic. The Wild West of prop firms. I only affiliate with the best, and I affiliate with them because they are the best. Coming up, NASDAQ 28,383. We have massive call buying. All right. they pump these things to 2 billion in calls. SR retest coming. Lucid CEO posted they paid out $500 million in 18 months. How much would it have taken to test fee to pay that out? Yep. I'm telling you, man, I want to start a prop firm. They're ridiculous. The margin on those things are insane. Boom, 400. Gold action data is excellent. They are. Yeah, gold action is fantastic. My problem with gold is that it's like most of the time it's crap, and then every now and then it's got these beautiful days. So I'm like, I don't know when to watch it, when not. There we go. NASDAQ blasting 420, coming up to 460. 800 million in calls, 430 million puts sold, almost coming up to $1 billion. High volume bottom wick occurred at 10 o'clock with news, and up and away. I was wrong. It's 15 months. We like to have fun despite me. Let's take her. Nice. Got to get that roll off right there. Beautiful stuff. 420 coming up. 420. 28, 420 coming up right there. Locked in 70 points. Nice, Trippy Mike. Well done. Right there. Beautiful base with volume. Right there at the 10 o'clock bottom wick. Right there. Fantastic. Still going. NASDAQ up is up. ES is still up. ES is looking for his 28,450. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Fantastic. That's part of it that I can't like, it's hard to quantify how I think it's a lot of experience. How you go from looking for no long positions, and then here you look for, all right, now we're looking for a long position. When things start to come in and things start to look base, you have a change of character in the price action, you have volume come in, and then now we start to go back up. So you go from avoiding catching a falling knife to looking for the base in market, and then the price action drifts higher. It's extraordinary. It's fun stuff. Trading can actually be pretty fun, as long as you're appropriately position sized, that is. Trading is not fun when you're slinging gigantic position sizing. Still going, NASDAQ. On up. On up. Go to the 4-hour chart. I mean, this is it, man. We have a couple of things to consider. We've got the trend line that I don't track trend lines. Trend lines only work when I don't play them. And then after that, it's down into the 27,000 mark. This is the last line of defense. The last line of defense for NASDAQ. Very important. Muy importante. Haven't hit the 50% mark yet. I need to delete all these lines. There's too much on here. Too many lines on my chart. It's distracting. NASDAQ still going. Still going. Nice, Glitch. Welcome. Congratulations, man. You're now a funded trader. Well done. Fantastic. Still going. I watched this YouTuber. He was slinging 60 micros and almost passing evals, then blowing them. At one point, he was $200 from passing, then went for it again and lost it all. But he's still getting payouts. He might be taking payouts, but I bet you he's spending more money than he's making. You can't take that kind of risk without spending more money than you're making on payouts. What's the point of taking a $1,000 payout if you're spending 20 grand a month in eval fees? It just doesn't make any sense. That's why I keep things consistently proper. Like my position size is always the same range of risk, always. Because I figured out that every time I deviate from that risk, I blow my accounts. Or I lose money on my personal account. That's just the way it is. Like, we want to pat ourselves on the back for taking payouts, but who cares if you're spending 4x what you're making in eval fees? It blows my mind that people spend that much money on props. Dude, again, I learn a lot from you all, just as much as hopefully you're learning from me. and the DMs that I've gotten will haunt my dreams forever. People spending 6 figures on eval fees a year. It's absurd. It's absurd. Dude has a $53,000 pro account, is down almost 2K, broke even and up only 200 profit. It's wild. Yeah. It's terrible, man. People treat them like slot machines. That's exactly right. Eventually, you're going to hit a big one. Got 130 points in MNQ. Nice, Proggy. Well done, buddy. Well done. Fantastic. 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 28,420 coming up. NASDAQ still. The bounce is still on. Coming up to 74.60 S&P. Right here. It's extraordinary, man. It's extraordinary. Still going. There's the bounce, baby. Still going. You will hit it, but you will be homeless and wifeless. Yeah, tell me about it. What do you think is a good practice for paying yourself in a personal account? I'm allowing mine to grow and have it let sit for going for 3 years now. I trade futures, trade options, and trade them. My wife said I actually need to withdraw those funds instead of being taxed anyway. However much do you think is a good rule of thumb for that? Prop firms is easy. Not my money, so take payouts as they come. I mean, that it's hard to say, man. It's hard to say how much money you take out of your personal account. I am a big believer of you have to take some money out when you make profits. Even if you're not net profitable, you still have to take money out because you get in this little black hole where you're still negative over your lifetime of trading. So you feel like, well, I can't take this money out. I haven't made profitability yet. And then you just never take money out. And I know people who've been trading for years and have never once realized a profit from their trading because they never take money out. They might be net negative and they think that. And it pushes you into this just downward spiral where it just trading becomes a black hole of nothingness. So you definitely got to take money out. Take some money out every now and then, pay for taxes or go do something fun. Take the wife out for a beautiful seafood dinner. Hopefully call her back. And have fun with it. And then the rest, reinvest and then continue to pad the account. I described you because I described almost everybody. I mean, I did that too. Taking money out of your account, it does something to you. It changes the way you trade because you start to realize, hey, this is real money. Right now, it's just a bunch of numbers and zeros and ones on a screen. But when you actually start to hold the cash, it becomes real. And it changes the way you approach money. And it might actually help you respect the money a little bit more and thus bring in some risk management into your system because you understand this is real money. It's real money. I started taking 20% every week or every other week to pay myself. Nice panic. I love it. With prop firms, like mind you, I had to develop a system with Take Profit Trader because with the daily payouts I'm getting, I want to take money out every day and it's unrestricted. So I could take out as much as I want. I could take out the whole account. I could take out a little bit. So once I hit that 2x buffer, sometimes I wipe the whole account back down to the 2x. Sometimes I just take out, $500 per account. So I go back and forth. Last night I didn't take any payouts. And I have to repad the account. And it is a risk because sometimes you have a drawdown that you need to pad and sometimes you don't. But you have to develop a strategy. Today at end of day, I take all my profits from the week. Nice, Lopez. I like it. That just triggered something hard. That's something in my hard head. Good. I hope it does. That's my job here is to not only give you all chum, but to when to take money out. So, as I said earlier, I don't expect a full-on V recovery because macro conditions do not call for that. So if this fails, which it looks like it will, that's when we're looking for a continuation down into the markdown phase. Is that your business? Yeah. Palm Beach Pete. Nice. ES went the entire range. And you see they put on almost 1 billion in calls. We had a high volume spike, and they pulled liquidity up higher. So we had a trifecta of price action and then indicators. Price action first, indicator second on that move. And ES went 20 points, 28 points. NASDAQ didn't quite do it. There's a lot more red in NASDAQ than there is the S&P. S&P was a lot more green. Anybody uses Zyrtec tablets, they're recalling Zyrtec for a fear of contamination in the pills, which is a very common antihistamine pill. Check your Zyrtec tablets. First profit with me. It was slow to exit, but I'll still take a good trade. Nice, Jimbo. Well done, buddy. Appreciate you being here. I think, this is your first week here with us, so welcome. For anybody else is here, make sure you're hitting subscribe for next week. Come back next week, and we'll start killing it again, baby. Next week's going to be a fun week. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to some volatility. I'm a volatility trader. I love volatility. And next week is going to be packed full of it, baby. Packed full of it. All right, coming off hard here. This is a very aggressive sell after the initial bounce. No V recovery for us today. Another test of the opening range low of 300, and we're about to get another 3C trigger short. So we had one 3C at 1035 short. We had the long 3C there, and now we have another 3C short after a very large engulfing red candle. So the sellers are killing it today. A very strong seller's book today. We have a 1,000 lot order on NASDAQ at 28,475. 1,000 lot. Are they going to spoof us again? Dang, man. Dang. A lot of spoofing on the order book here. We're going to see if we can get 28,317 with the sellers absolutely destroying this. Right here. Right here. This is a key Fibonacci level. Are we going back up? I don't know. That was an aggressive sell. That was a 100 and something point sell. 150 point sell, plus or minus. That's public math. We have another bifurcated market. NASDAQ is down 1%. The S&P is barely red. It's like it was green, but that little move turned it red again. So that S&P, if you look in the watch list here, you see the S&P, which is these 10 sectors, are very green, except for XLK, which is technology. Very red. Tech is bleeding right now. I'm bleeding. SpaceX is down 4.4% to 112. SanDisk is down 10%. MU is down 6.8. AVGO is down 2.6. Tesla's down 1.9. It's crazy stuff, man. Nice, Trippy Mike. Well done, buddy. You're killing it today, baby. Killing it. Trippy Mike is killing it. Right here, 28,339. What to do from here? It's like riding a rodeo bull. I won't use the word bucking since it threw y'all off last time. Right here. 660 to 70. Interesting. Interesting. Gold, gold, gold. Look at that volume candle bounce. Another volume bounce. VIX is still coming back down again. 50% rejection on the Fibonacci. ES is coming up 74.50. Another big old bounce. 12-point bounce on ES. NASDAQ is coming back up there too after regathering at the lows. YM is there. NASDAQ is there. So look, they're spoofing again at 28,425, 1,000 lots. So there's another liquidity run to come up and grab the order blocks up here. ES keeps on spoofing 74.60 right here. Yes. Major bottom wicks, dude. Major bottom wicks. ME a strong bounce 0.618 fib. I'm a time-based trader. Usually a dip in reverse at 713. Nice. Yeah, I like time as a metric. Markets love patterns. Market loves time algorithms. Coming back up again. Markets are doing everything to defend the 7,400. We triggered this yesterday. The 7,400 put legs are strong supports for the S&P, just like 7,500, 7,600, 7,300. Those 0 lots in SPX are usually put and call legs. Those nice round numbers are strong defense for the option sellers. Huge bottom wick on NASDAQ. We're carving out a range in the lower half. We're carving out a range in the lower half right here. I think we should be trading gold more consistent today. Yeah. Gold's been fantastic today. Another high volume bottom wick there at 458. So you see, anytime the volume comes in, it pivots. Volume pivot, volume pivot, volume pivot. It says clean, volume pivot. But I only have I've only got so much I can look at it a single session. Right here. Remember, shorts always get destroyed. Yes, they do. Shorts always get destroyed. Even on downtrend days, you've got to be very careful with where you place your short positions, because the buyers always defend. When we have those bullish trend days, like those things will just blast off and trend all day. But bullish or bearish trend days, the bulls always get their pound of flesh. Yeah, buddy. Speaking of which, I made beef tallow. We made beef tallow yesterday. Did I tell you all that? Very cool. Very interesting stuff if you've never done it. Is audio gone? Negative. All right. Here, let me show you all this on the book map. Right here. A lot of liquidity up on the upside. Another rejection. Another rejection. Right there. 74.62, 1,000 lots sitting at 74.62 for the S&P. NASDAQ has their same respective level up at 28,462. 1,000 lots. A lot. A lot. So will they fill it? I don't know. I don't know. Right here. I don't know. Right here, 28,382. They shifted that liquidity down to 412. They're all over the place with that thing, man. They are all over the place on the bottom wick. Right here. Right here. Locking in profits at an overnight high level GC long. Nice, well done. Liquidity sweep to the bottom of consolidation range and blast. Heck yeah, man. Are you seeing my messages? I am, yes. I see you right there. Coming up to 28,412 again. I think they're going to sweep that 412. They're attacking it right there. There's 1,000 lots sitting there. Right here, bottom wick 28,400. What do you want to know about trades? I think Twizzy took some trades. Praga took some trades. Yeah, we're taking trades. I've learned on a day that days like this wreck me. I got to sit on my hands. Patience. I mean, 100% patience. Obviously. I mean, like look at yesterday's session. Like we knew based on the options data and based on the liquidity that they were going to put on a bounce yesterday. And I said late morning, early afternoon they were going to put on a bounce. And NASDAQ freaking bounced. almost 400 points. So the bounces come on days like today. You just got to be patient enough for the signs to line. Like fighting, I haven't gotten, I knew we were going to bounce earlier. We said that this is where we're going to look to long off of the 300 mark. But to get the big, massive trades, I need that certain setup to present itself. And the problem is we're fighting two different things right now. The NASDAQ is fighting two different things. Number one, we have a massive divergence between ES and NASDAQ. ES is very bullish. NASDAQ is very bearish. It's not often we see that. And we've been seeing a lot of it the past week and a half, 2 weeks, where we have a very red NASDAQ and a green ES. It's not often we have that, it's not often we have that so consistent and so prolonged. The second thing we're fighting is a macro bearish environment on the S&P, looking for a bounce on the short term here on the, the 1 minute, 5 minute scale. So you have to correlate the long-term macro thesis with the short-term scalping thesis. And that's the difference. So you got to be very careful when doing that. Now, it's very easy to just willy-nilly buy the dip and what I call the slop trade. The slop trade is what you want to really focus on. The slop trade gives you the greatest margin of error to take a position. So in a very bullish market, the slop trade is looking to consistently buy the dip. Is longs, buy the dip, go up, and away. On a bearish trend, the slop trade is shorting the rips. Excuse me. I just opened a can. Usually I mute that for you. And that's the thing we're coming out today. And why did my Discord just restart? Yeah, buddy. 28,404. Right here. I think Discord just went out. Yeah, I think Discord just failed. Did Discord fail for y'all or just me? Interesting. Still going here. We have a ton of liquidity at 74.62 on the S&P, which is 12 points higher. Right here. We still have call buying, put selling. That's the overall theme, although it's not a lot. The options data is not very big today. Yeah, I think Discord collapsed. What's going on here? You know what happens if there's Discord outage? Interesting. Last time there was a Discord outage, market collapsed. The market's collapsed. It's coming off again. Interesting. I'm going to look it up. I think we're going to go down here. It's another top wick, and the sellers are absorbing. The sellers are absorbing. Do I trade the orb as well? I do not. No, I'm a VPA style trader. 90% of my analysis comes from volume and price action. I do bring in some indicators like bookmap and options data to determine what I'm going to do. Bookmap has no reported incidents, but my bookmap is down. Interesting. All right, still coming off here. Red candles. I do think we're going to come down here. After that, another move. We have another absorption, whether it be now or soon. Right here. Still dropping. Coming down. All right, I think we're back there. Yeah. I had a Discord out. My internet didn't even go out. Just Discord went out. That was weird. Did Discord go out for y'all too? I think we're back online here. But I think we're back online. Yeah. Just blew your accounts. Sorry about that. So we have another rollover here. Another one. ES is following this little wedge. Some people would identify that as a bearish wedge. NASDAQ is rolling back over again. And we're back and forth in a chop. Looking for follow-on. Right here. Another top wick. I know you don't call out gold, but your teachings always help me with gold. Oh, I'm thinking, you're welcome, buddy. Yeah, I mean, and gold is one of those things where sometimes it falls on my cross-check simply because I have so much going on. But I do love trading gold. I had a lot of fun trading gold and silver back in December, January. I do enjoy trading it when it puts on good moves. I wish I had. I wish I could. I had more arms. I need octopus arms. I'm no bear or bull, but I hate ranges. Yeah. I don't mind ranges if they're going up and down and respecting the highs and lows, but I don't like holding ranges at the bottom. To me, this looks like a bearish absorption for a low price into the 200s. That's what this appears to be. The buyers cannot claim higher highs. The issue is that the ES did claim higher highs. So we have a bullish setup on the S&P and the bearish setup on the NASDAQ, for now at least. Do you take into account the Qs bouncing off the bottom? You talking about the bottom of the range? I do, 100%. In fact, that's what this green block this shaded region. That's a macro shaded region. If you zoom out, that's coming from June lows. NASDAQ's coming down again, bearish candle. And once we take this out, it's coming on down. Oh, I don't track Bollinger Bands. What's up, Mojo? How you doing, buddy? Hope you have a good follow-on day after yesterday. I'm a big believer in less is more. I used to be very critical of indicators, but I've come to realize that as long as you have a good handle on how you understand price action, you need to find whatever works for you in terms of identifying patterns. You've got two sides of trading in terms of what we do here. You've got actually reading price action in volume, and then you've got pattern-based indicators. Pattern-based indicators are everything. VWAP, EMAs, RSI, MACD, I mean, all that stuff is just, your job is using that to identify a pattern in the markets. So if you can blend the two to make money, cool, man. Cool. That's what works for you. So different strokes for different folks. Could you explain absorption talk? Yes. So absorption comes in when a price action moves towards a level. Let me get my drawing tool. When a price action moves towards a level, whether it be a support or a resistance, and then it sticks in that level for a prolonged period of time. In this case, buyers stop putting in higher highs. We have this base. This appears to be what's called a bearish triangle. A bearish triangle is where you have a descending top side and a flat bottom side. Absorption, where the buyers start to exhaust because they fail to put in higher highs, and then blip, we break. An absorption style. You may confuse that with a bearish or with a bullish, a bearish wedge. Right here. I'm sorry. Let me see. I got my patterns messed up. A bullish wedge, which is where you have both a descending and a descending top side and a descending lower side range. So that is a bullish wedge where the sellers are exhausting. The sellers can no longer put in lower lows. So this looks like an absorption move here where the bears are holding the low side and they're grinding up against the support that's hanging out at 28,300, and then finally it breaks and then it goes down. So yeah, defending. I love it, JJ. I love it. What's the difference between absorption and exhaustion? Exhaustion comes in if you're looking for a pivot. So in this case, if we have sellers exhaustion, I mean, I guess it depends on which side, because here you're going to have bullish exhaustion, which leads to downside. So I guess it depends on, where you're applying the exhaustion definition. because we're seeing bullish exhaustion here where the buyers simply cannot overcome overcome. This is like round 6 or round 7 in Rocky 4, where Rocky just can't Rocky just can't overcome Drago. We got to get to round 14, man. Exhaustion. You're welcome, Game Ballin'. You're welcome. All right, another top wick here. This should lead to a breach of 300, at which point we're looking for maybe 220. They're doing that thing on Bookmap where they're chasing liquidity lower. If I can, I have 2 of them. I wish I could give you one. Nice. Nice. So the 1,000 lot liquidity on Bookmap has gone from 74.65 to 74.60 to 74.50 now. So they're shifting it lower. We have no high volume bottom wicks, and this should get us down into 200. Rocky's not human. He's like a piece of iron. Yeah. In real life, Rocky would be pummeled into a chewed up piece of bubblegum, but the movies are fun. Breaching lower. There we go. There's that exhaustion phase. On the bull side, absorption by the bears, and then down we go. From 300 on down. With volume. Beautiful stuff. You're welcome, Options Noob. You're welcome, buddy. I'm glad I can help. It's fantastic, man. It's fantastic. Still going. Is 228 the next target? I would say about 220s. Yeah, 200, 220s, somewhere in there. Yeah, definitely. We're coming up on down to June monthly. This is a multi-month low. This is a major move. So the theme here is to ride the bears on down into this lower half of the range of about 200. And then you have to look for a bullish engagement. Even if it's only temporary, the bulls are going to defend June monthly lows. There's a whole crap ton of liquidity there into the 220 mark. So you maintain a bearish bias until you get into the lower 200s here. You look for a volume spike, and then you could start to speculate on a possible bounce scalp long. The markets do the same thing all the time. Now, that's only temporary. I'm not calling for a V recovery. I'm not calling for a 500-point bounce on NASDAQ. I'm just saying you have an opportunity here in the next 90 points on NASDAQ to look for a scalp long position. Now, that could turn into a 50-point scalp. That could turn into a 500-point scalp. I don't know. The point is, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you get a scalpable long position opportunity in the lower half of this range as we get into June monthly lows, plus or minus. Do you have any tips on how to enter into a trade on these absorption patterns? Well, first is position sizing, of course. But this is where you have to fight your fears and emotions, because I never condone shorting the hole. I don't like to get in the habit. I did it 2 weeks ago and it worked out well because I waited for a very specific setup. When you have the first bounce, you have the second bounce. Okay, well, the more times we bounce at this area, the odds increase that we're going to plow through. But how do you know which one's actually going to plow through? Well, you don't. This is why I like to do that absorption analysis. These 2 bounces were very aggressive. The next time we touched it, it was not aggressive. In fact, we stuck here for 9 minutes. We stuck in this range. Instead of cleanly bouncing, we stuck here for 9 to 10 minutes. That looks like absorption where the buyers have completely failed to bring in a higher high and engage the price action. Remember, we're looking at candles, but the market is not candles. The market is actually buys and sells. It's order flow. So understanding the translation between order flow and candles, if the candles are stuck to the low side of the range, the buyers aren't buying. And if the buyers aren't buying, and the volume is not there, the bottom wicks are not there, then that tells me that the sellers are absorbing for the shift lower, because right now we're seeking demand. We're seeking demand here by dropping. How low can this price go before we find buyers? Period. And I always go back to the Walmart shelf inventory widget metaphor. If Walmart has a widget on the shelves that's not selling, it has to continue to lower the price until they start to see, holy crap, everyone's rushing in through the doors to buy this product. And then once that happens, they start to raise the price until the buying stops. It's the same exact thing in the market. So the price action is going to continue to drop until we have a large inventory of buyers, which results on the charts with a volume spike and a bottom wick. And once I see that, you start to enter long. But not until then. Price discovery, yes sir. Yes sir. Stop thinking about the markets in terms of candles and think about it in terms of order flow. It'll help you cage your expectations a little bit. I'm locking my trade of 8 and getting back to my day job. Y'all be joining us. Y'all jabronis be safe. 3 C's, baby. That's right, noob doob. Have a good rest of the day, buddy. Have a good rest of the day. What's up, Routine? How you doing, buddy? I like to think of the market of billions of little pixels that live in the screens that steal money and deliver money back to Skynet headquarters. I mean, that's probably pretty close to being accurate. So. My buddy said he's going to enter some puts so the market can go higher for us. Oh, tell him thank you for his service. Unfortunately, many retail traders think like that. The average retail trader thinks like that. It's a very common comment you see across the internet. And it's because, I've said this before, reactionary trading. Traders typically don't know what they're doing, or they don't know what to do in a given environment, so they reactionary trade. They see red, they short. They see long, they see green, they long. And they get trapped up in the sweeps. And when you get trapped up in the sweeps, you end up shorting lows and buying highs. And it's just no bueno. Another top wick back over, that's an SR flip right there. Another retest of them. Opening range low of 28,300. Top wick back over. Yeah, buddy. How do you set stops on these MNQ trades? The range seems so huge. Well, it's structure. It depends on where your entry is. It depends. The quality of your entry will affect the outcome of your stop loss. If you have a really crappy entry, you don't have the luxury of setting a tight stop. You have to set a large stop. It's just the way it is. Unless you're trading off profits, which I never encourage. So the quality of your entry affects your stop loss. If you get a fantastic long entry, like tip the bottom, then you need to give yourself a good wide berth because it's not often the market hands you a fantastic entry. And if you have a fantastic entry, you probably don't need a wide stop. That's the beautiful thing about it. But if you are going to touch NASDAQ is a beast of a product. If you're going to touch NASDAQ, you've got to be willing to take 40 to 50 points on a stop. If you're taking 10 to 20 point, 15 points on the stop, you're going to get stopped out every single trade. That's the way it is. Orb is fine when the market's trending, but when the market is typically only trending about 25% of the time. Yeah. Especially the past 2 months. NASDAQ touches you, that's right. I think prop firms have desensitized us to the monstrosity of NASDAQ. I don't trade NASDAQ that much on my personal brokerage account. I trade a lot of ES. I do trade it on there, but I'm only trading micros on my personal account with Nasdaq. Every now and then we'll tip into one mini, but it's a beast of a product. Yeah, when you can sling 5 minis with a 2K drawdown, it's obscene. That's obscene. That's 20 points. Is that 40 to 50 point stop for micros as well? Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, it's Nasdaq is one of those where you should only trade it when you have a high confidence position, a high confidence setup. That's it. I think a lot of traders can do well for themselves if they move away from exclusively trading Nasdaq. Not trading Nasdaq, but don't exclusively trade Nasdaq. Learn to trade it when it's pumping, and learn to switch it to something else when it's back and forth. The biggest I ever did was 6 Nasdaq. If you want to crap your pants every 2 seconds, go to a size like that. Yeah, I did 15 minis on silver back in January. That is like, you want to talk about Taco Bell lettuce? Whew. I did not care for that. $10 points on $200 on a mini, and they were regularly. Yeah, that's wild, Logan. Wild. How big were the fluctuations on P&L? 6 figures. It was crazy. It took me, a month and a half to make $180,000 on Top Step, and then I was like, all right, I've taken out a bunch of money. I'm going to see how much I can get out of this account. So I started slinging massive position sizing on silver. It was ridiculous. You should have copy traded. I won a lot of them, Logan, but eventually it got me in the end. I knew eventually you would get me, but I was actually able to last a couple of weeks doing that. But eventually it did get me. Come on now, don't bounce it before the monthly low. I wanted that monthly low bounce. I knew I served luckily with those 6 ending keys and went back to 2. Yeah. You know you're too big on a position size when you enter and you immediately regret it. The second you hit order filled and you immediately regret it, yeah, you need to size down. How's the hero? Right now the hero is it's been a little neutral. We're only talking about a couple of $100 million worth of notional, which is not much. At the moment, we have 840 million of calls purchased and 380 of puts sold. And now we're putting on a pretty healthy bounce. That is a 100-point bounce on NASDAQ off of a high volume spike, mind you. That is a 3C trigger. It didn't come down to where I wanted it to go. Stupid market didn't do what I wanted it to do. But that is a 3C long trigger. After 304 to 28,355. One thing that helped me with my stops was to pay attention to the average range of the bars. For instance, on NASDAQ, it's 48 points on the 2-minute. Hey, that's a fantastic, Mojo. That's extraordinary. Nice, Trippy Mike. Well done, buddy. Well done. High volume spike there at the 939 after the breach lower. Gathered an accumulation. Higher high there at 304. And up and away. Who had Taco Bell lettuce on their bingo card? Yeah, tell me about it. Apparently 1,600 people got infected with that thing, and every one of them had Taco Bell. Every one of them had Taco Bell. Yeah. Right here. Yeah, I think what Mojo just said is fantastic. I think that needs to be something that most people really consider. I've always found a way, because volatility environments, you need to adjust your stops based on the volatility environment. And looking at the average range of the candles is fantastic. It's a fantastic way to do it. I appreciate that comment. Right here. What are your thoughts on ES minis versus micros? Since it moves a little less volatile, is one mini okay for ES? Well, it depends on account size. You know, if you're trading a $50,000 TPT account, I don't recommend using a mini. It's just one wrong move and you're going to smoke your account, and you're going to have a wrong move eventually. I mean, everyone takes losses, right? So you take a loss and that's it. You're done. I mean, the account's gone. So you have to inch your way up when you're dealing with the smaller accounts. If you want to trade one mini on the S&P, then at least go to the 150K account. Use the 150K if you like doing that, which is fine. I'm in it for the long haul, man. Like right now, this right here to me, what I'm doing with Take Profit Trader is the number one reason I take things slow. I'm not looking for the single massive payout, because it took me almost 2 weeks. I passed these 5 accounts, and now I'm grinding these things up. I'm just grinding them up. A couple $100 here, $1,000 there, $50 here, and I'm able to take consistent, healthy payouts across 5 accounts. That to me that's where I get my endorphin hit. That's where I get the joy of my system working. But so I don't care about using big positions. Now my personal account, I'll use some minis. That's the difference, because I know my risk. I know my personal rules on my personal account. But as my buffer gets bigger, I'll use minis, and that's okay. But if you've only got a $2,000 or $3,000, $4,000, $6,000 buffer, I mean, a couple of losing mini trades and you're done. You're done. Right there. I'm long NASDAQ 263, expecting a sharp pullback to the upside. You're expecting a pullback to the upside? Interesting terms. What happened to your old TPT accounts? Yeah, they wrecked them. They wrecked them. It was the 5 I just bought for evals, and they wrecked them. I talked to the I guess whatever their reviewing team, and they're like, yeah, it's an obvious that you put on the trade. We can't do anything about it. I was like, that sucks. You know what was dumb though? I was copy trading 5 evals to pass them, and I had one eval that it's already hit the profit target, so I was literally just like doing a check the box trade, and that was the trade that triggered the counter trading rule. So it was literally a meaningless trade that triggered the rule. So it was aggravating. Still going, NASDAQ. Beautiful bounce with 3 Cs, high volume. Back and forth. Back and forth. How's the copy traded with TPT? It depends on what you're using. I use Quantower's built-in copy trading. And it works pretty well. Sometimes there's a glitch, but it works pretty well. I don't do a lot of trading though, so it doesn't affect me very much, all the glitchiness. But yeah, they are, JJ. Did you get flagged for counter trading while copy trading again? It did get me, yeah, but it wasn't because of a glitch on the software. I actually did it. I just didn't mean to do it. You know, it was inadvertent, but still, regardless. All right, NASDAQ bounce with volume. We didn't quite get down to my target, but they did give us a 3C trigger on the long side. If you look at the 5-minute, we have volume, we have bottom wick, we have close over 306. And now it's leading into 404, 425. We have call buying, put selling. We have up, and away. All bullish across the board here. We have massive liquidity to the upside to 74.60 on the S&P. I'm only buying TLT these levels, nothing else until 90. Nice. Nice. I've already allocated completely into TLT, so I'm not adding any more to that trade. But that will be a prolonged hold for a long time. Massive green, baby. Massive green. Call buying out the yazoo. 1.1 billion in calls. 800 million in puts sold. Up, up, and away. What's up, Salim? How you doing? Yeah, it does stink, Ryan Brown. It is what it is. That's the first time that's happened, though, so it's all right. No big deal. I'll be more careful next time. ES took out high of the day up here. I'm going to play around with the 3Cs overnight. What's the best time overnight with volume to do this on? In my opinion, the London Open is the best time to trade overnight. If you want the most volatility and the most volume, that's the time to do it. Some people like the Asian Open. I personally don't like the Asian Open. It's hit or miss. But yeah, London Open is the best time to do that. 28,416. That's a high volume bounce. 306 trigger. Coming up again at 430. Looking for the high right here at 450. Beautiful bounce. Going to take the green day and enjoy my weekend. Nice, J-Dog. It's a fantastic idea, buddy. Have a good day today. Had a good day today on the evals. Locking it out. Nice, Walker. Have a good day, buddy. See you back on Monday. Fantastic. Massive bounce. ES is breaking out high of the day. We have aggressive call buying and put selling. That started the accumulation there. We had liquidity higher on Bookmap. Do I have a price target on SPCX? I don't. I have a price that I want. I want under 70. But I don't think it'll get down there. I think we'll get 100 at least. I do think we'll get 100 because every month from here until January 2027 unlocks a new gate of selling. The institutional holders are able to start selling every month starting from now until January 27. So I do think there's going to be some selling. I do think we'll see sub 100. I don't know if we'll get under 70. If we do, I will buy the crap out of it and hold it forever. That'll be a long-term investment hold. That will not be a day trade or a scalp or a swing trade. Big green candles coming up, baby. All the way up. New high. Up, up, and away. Up, up, and away. Lock it in. 1.4 billion calls. 1.2 billion puts sold. Liquidity higher. 3C bounce. Extraordinarily bullish. Extraordinary bullish. Just price action, or was there a key level? On what? On NASDAQ or on the SpaceX talk we just had? ES breakout. Let's take a look. So ES did the same bottom wick there. Their trigger was at 74.43, and they just took out their morning high of 74.58. So that is a bullish breakout there. If it comes back down and bounces off the morning high of 58, that is a technical trend up day, which is a very quick change on what we just saw 10 minutes ago. If they take out the overnight high of 70, then man, it's going to be spicy. They could squeeze the weekend. So here's another test. Now, using the opening range, a breach above and then a defense of 74.58 is a good scalp long position. So watch that area of 74.58 on the S&P. NASDAQ is not anywhere close to taking out their high of the day. Massive discrepancy between the two. Have I already started a position on SpaceX? No, I have not. I'm waiting as long as I can to start entering dollar cost averaging into SpaceX, which will most likely be sometime fall. It depends on how far they go. I don't know. If we have a market-wide correction this fall and everything starts to fall, including SpaceX, I mean, we could see sub 100 pretty quick. So once we go under a sub 100, I'll start to dollar cost average in small chunks. I won't go full in, but I'll start to dollar cost average in small chunks. If we get under 70, the chunks will be larger. If we get under 40, that's when I'm taking the kids' lunch money. I'm selling all their toys. I'm selling the wife's car, and I'm buying as much SpaceX as I possibly can. I just don't think it'll do it. Your kids have toys. Oh my God. Yeah, ball and a stick. Stick in a loop. Counter trend idea, but I would love your thoughts. What's up? I've noticed for July I've been holding winners too long, eventually getting stopped out at break even after seeing decent unrealized P&Ls. I'm also holding losers too long, especially being too aggressive on both sides of the aisle. It would be completely off base to actually increase my sizing in order to force myself to take profits quicker and losers quicker as well. No, partly the mindset has come from wanting to make the juice worth the squeeze, but finding it more difficult in ranging. So if I'm translating that correctly, it seems you don't respect the money you're making, is what it seems to me. You want more. So that's what you have to fix. If you've got a problem to fix, it's rare if I think it's impossible to correct any trading problems with increasing size. That's just my opinion. I don't think increasing in size it fixes any trading problems. It makes things worse because now your emotions start to expand. And human emotions have proven one thing: they're very unreliable, and they usually lead you astray. So if you're having problems taking profit, you have to start having a talk with yourself that, money is money. Take $200 out in cash from the bank account and set it on your trading desk, so you look and feel that $200, and tell me if that's not worth it. Because we scoff at $200. You make $200 in a prop firm, scoff. That's $200. I need more. That's terrible. That's 100 points on one mini, which is pretty common. A 100-point move on NASDAQ. If you're trading consistently and following the 3 Cs, you should be able to catch at least a 100-point move on NASDAQ a week. That's not that much. We've done it every week since we started posting trades. It's not that difficult to do that, as long as you're buying in somewhat decent areas and you're trading micros. So 100 points on one micro contract on NASDAQ is $200. That's a lot of money. But we don't look at it as a lot of money. Greed is a heck of a drug. Yes, it is. Can you elaborate on a responsible scaling plan? Well, I would need to know more. All right, okay, there you go. So you got 25K eval. I've made more than 50% target. Should I lose money? Oh, that's a different person. I saw the W. Very similar logos. We'll start with W. Yes, you should. So I would have to know more about your trading. I'd have to know more about your position sizing. I'd have to know more about your account size. If you're trading with small accounts, then you don't have the luxury of waiting for a big win. You've got to grind up. You've got to take time and develop a system to grind up, and then scale up when you have a high confidence position and stay small when you have a low confidence position. There are times to increase position sizing. I'm not saying go in huge position sizing. I'm not saying full port, but there are times to scale up in your position sizing when you have a high confident trigger. If we come down to this June monthly low and put on in the highest volume candle of the day with a hammering bottom wick, I'm going to long the crap out of it. It's not often we get a 2-month low trigger. So there are times to go big and there's times not to. But in terms of actually taking profit, that is why I've got a hard set rule with my trailing stops. When I'm trailing a profitable position, when the market breaks through a new resistance, you cannot let that top wick and re-drop below that resistance, because now you're in hopium. Once the market tells you that it's rejecting structure and it's coming back down, you've got to get out of a long position. You're just going to give back all your profits for nothing, hoping that it continues to go higher. So anytime the market is moving up on a profitable long position and it breaks through and holds a resistance, I move my trailing stop up and I take my hands off and I don't touch it. And if it does it again, I'll move it up again. Now, following that system, most of the time you're going to get stopped out sooner than you want to be. But 2-3 times a quarter, you're going to catch one of those massive bull rallies that never pull back, and you're going to get yourself 300 or 400 points. And that's the point. Your goal is not to catch a 400-point move every single day. It's to set yourself up consistently where once every couple of months you catch yourself a 400-point move. That's all you need. A video on doing proper drilling stops would be a connect. Yeah, dude, it would. Apple's in Stopital today. Yeah, buddy. It's crazy. 2.6% on Apple. The S&P is bright freaking green, man. Look at the discrepancy here. Look at that. XLK is down 0.9%. The rest of the S&P is bright freaking green. It's massive green across the market except for tech. Right here. It's nice little top wick coming down NASDAQ. They rejected the 50% mark again, so they still can't hold the Fibonacci 50s. Still can't hold the Fibonacci 50s. That's a large sweeping top wick on NASDAQ, about 60 points. Been a very back and forth morning after the morning dump. Who still has the screenshot from the massive bounce from spring of 25? Anyone still have that? Where NASDAQ was up like 3,000 points in one day. That was a great day. Massive green. Look at that. The bounce off Liberation Day. Yeah. What was that? April of 25? That was a massive bounce. April 9th, 25. Yeah, it was great. Nice mojo. Very cool. The trader that turned $10,000 into $15 million still haunts me. Yeah, I wonder what he's doing right now. I've been trading for quite some time now, trading since 2020. I was back with the community in 23, but finding it difficult to take decent payouts when daily ranges are smaller. Well, you can't fight the markets, man. So either you've got to do two things: adjust your system to accommodate the macro tightness we've been experiencing since May, or trade something different. But the market is not always going to be banging. It's not. That's the thing I struggle with here is running in the community, is that not every day is going to be a banger. Not every week is going to be a banger. There are times where we're going to make an absolute killing every day, and there's times where we're going to just kind of sit in here chit-chatting for a lot of the day. And the past 2 months has been back and forth. Now, we've been blessed with a lot of great ranges. I mean, the daily ranges have been very boring, but on the 1 and 5 minute, we've had some fantastic moves the past couple of weeks. But it's not always going to be amazing. $28,430. Still cannot get through the Fibonacci 50. Right here. Top wicking off of it. Next week is going to be a banger of a week. A banger of a week. Make sure you come hang out with us. Nice done, Krish. Well done. ES is blasting. That's a super high volume top wick there on that. Now, what did I say about the morning high? The retest of the morning high is a great place to scalp long. Broke above it, came back down, bottom wick off of it. Launch pad for 20 points. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Y'all should be plotting the first hour high and lows. $1.4 billion calls purchased, 1.3 puts sold. Very bullish on the options for the S&P to the upside. ES is still going. Very, very green. That is the highest volume candle of the day for NASDAQ. I'm sorry, for the S&P, and it's blasting. Massive green move here. Massive, massive green move across the board. Beautiful stuff. That is a 20-point, almost a 25-point move on ES. Huge green. Still going, baby. Still going. Well done, Jimba. Well done. Iran called and wants to talk. Yeah, probably. Pakistan and Iran explore a path towards new talks with U.S. in a China-initiated push. At this point, I don't even know if we're at war or we're at peace. Like, what are we doing here? I don't even know. 28,550 still going here. Or 508, I'm sorry, 515. It's exactly what it was, Iran. A vampire. Exactly what it was. So we have an Iranian news posting come out, and the markets push up on the highest volume candle of the day on ES. Blasting. We have $2 billion in calls purchased, $1.6 billion put sold. The options have been bullish all day long. Never once did they actually push towards bearishness. They were bullish all day long, and the S&P has been flying. The liquidity on the book map has been bullish all day long. It's always been higher. 74.70, 74.60, 74.50, up and away. And we had that high volume bottom wick that occurred right there at the lows at 10:45, and then off to the races. That's a 220 point bounce on NASDAQ. Who's this guy? The U.S. housing market has reached its most unaffordable level in history. The crash that's coming in 2008 looks nothing. The crash that's coming is going to make 2008 look like a child's play, and it's going to devastate buyers. If you know someone who's recently bought a house since 2020, pray for them. They're going to need it. Interesting. Interesting. What do you think about the merger? Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that. You can guess how I feel about that. Here is my entry, 50 Fibonacci on the leg up. That's fantastic, Mojo. I loved it. You're my 50 guy. I need to change your name too. I've got Kennedy, King of Trend Lines. I need Mojo King of 50. King of Fibbo. Fibonacci King. Definitely not Mr. 50. No. We are coming up to the end of the stream here. In 12 minutes, we'll have the London close, which will wrap up the week, wrap up the day, wrap up our time together. It's been an extraordinary session. This whole week has been fantastic. A lot of opportunity. Once again, we're still stuck in this lower half of the range since yesterday morning. The buyers are giving it their all to get us above this zone. If they fail the June lows, that is all she wrote. The fat lady will be singing. That's all she wrote. Question, on the 5-minute MES chart, there were two big top wick candles, so I assume more down, but there was a major push up. Let me take a look. Yeah, so you did get a high volume top wick there, but no lower low. So your trigger would be 74.65 and then blast up. So yeah, we did 100%. We got a high volume top wick, but we didn't get any lower lows. And ES just goes range to range in a couple of minutes. South Korea develop invisible solar panels that can turn windows into electricity generating surfaces. Interesting. Fantastic session. So glad to have found you. I was developing my edge similar to yours, but execution was poor. I'm learning to execute so much better. Good day for me. Best stream. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate you. Thanks for being here and hanging out with us and your commentary. I love it. Come back and join us next week as we continue the journey of learning the 3 C's. They've been telling that invisible crap for 10 years now. Fake news. Interesting. Interesting. Everything is still very bullish. Options are straight up. Liquidity is up to 74.90. No lower lows, no shorting. Up, up, and away. Up, up, and away. Next week is going to be extraordinary, man. Can't wait. I went to go get a Raspberry Pi for a project I'm building, and it's $500. I thought those things were supposed to be cheap. Amazon should be $250, $300. Yeah, I'm not buying it yet until I see those prices. I'll have to look. Peach pie would be cheaper. I love it. Badumch. Trump makes his biggest threat right before he tacos. Trump and Putin said that he wouldn't sell arms to Iran. Yep. We have aggressive call buying and put selling. So far, from an option chain perspective, from an order book perspective, things have gotten bullish. We had yet another liquidity sweep lower and another bottom wick higher. This is becoming the very common theme. Morning red, afternoon green back up. And it was all qualified with a 3C bottom wick. Back up. All right. I swear every day I see in the name of a new prop firm. They sell Raspberry Pi clones made by Chinese companies. Might be easier to get. Interesting. Orange Pi. I'll have to take a look. All right, NASDAQ and the S&P are still going. Still going straight up, baby. ES is gone up, taking out the high of the day. NASDAQ is all but done it. This is coming free spyware. Yeah. Hilarious. Hilarious. Still going. Still going. Must be a downside I'm not seeing. ES is absorbing to go higher. Even going, let's see what Apple's doing there too. 3% on Apple, just straight freaking up on Apple. Extraordinary. Not a single pullback. Look at that. Pumping it. Pumping it. They have earnings on Thursday. One of the things we'll be following next week. So here's what will happen. We'll have FOMC on Wednesday. Now, the typical FOMC move that I like to play is the day after FOMC, the follow-on day. So we'll have Apple earnings and the post-FOMC move on the same day on July 26th. No, I'm sorry, July 30th. On July 30th. Great session as always. Have a great weekend. Thanks, SPQ. Appreciate you, buddy. I'll see you back here next week on Monday. Coming up on NASDAQ, 28,550. Apple's avoiding the data center spending madness. It's crazy. It's the first day I broke my losing streak on a fresh eval, slow and steady. That's right, Phil. Slow and steady, buddy. Slow and steady. Crazy session. I'm having a rough couple of weeks due to some personal family stuff, but I'll get through my morning. Well, yeah, that's some of the time to take a break, man. And I know family stuff can weigh on you. I'll keep you in my prayers. Hope things get better for you. The personal family problems will affect your trading. It'll affect your ability to see things. If you're even having a bad day, if you wake up and you're having a bad day, that will affect your trading. I'd recommend not trading if you're just in one of those moods where you woke up on the wrong side of the bed or something's going wrong. And then, of course, bad trading will just make it worse. Best stream out there. Don't forget to hit that like button. Thanks, Side Gig Guru. Appreciate you. If you wouldn't mind hitting that like button and subscribe, you get notifications for future content. Next stream on Monday. Double top on the S&P with volume at 74.90. Live tilt, trade tilt. That's right. That is the London close, so that will end our time together. I appreciate y'all hanging out with us and watching the stream. Appreciate y'all commentating on everything. Hope y'all learned a little bit, made some money, and then hit that like and subscribe button. As we come into the weekend, take your mind off trading. Put it towards family, friends, faith, fitness, finance, and stop thinking about this market for a couple of days. I'll keep every one of y'all in prayers. God bless. Hope y'all have a good weekend. I'll see you back here on Monday morning for the next Options Millionaire stream, the #1 stream on YouTube. I'm out. See you.